A couple of the districts did see the effect of the war with Iran, businesses adopting this wait and see mode when it comes to making investment decisions, CapEx hiring and the like. What else stuck out to you?
Well, in terms of hiring, they said there's more people who are taking part-time jobs because the companies don't want to hire on a full-time basis. Also, they noted that prices were not rising dramatically except for fuel and gasoline, but that is the leading tip of the spear of inflation when you have a situation like we're in now. It is the first Beige Book since the war started, and on an anecdotal basis, it does suggest that the economy is starting to bear the scars of the war economically, even if it hasn't shown up in some of the data yet.
So, okay. And then you think about the impact of the war. So, Mike, like, how are you starting to assess the economy? I feel like we've had so many guests come on, you know, certainly on the investment side saying, U.S. market, it's supreme. That's where investors are going to be going. That economy is doing well. What's your view on kind of where the U.S. economy might be headed?
It's really impossible to say at this point because we don't know how long this is going to last. But of course, this is IMF week here in Washington. I've been listening to a lot of experts from around the world over the last couple of days, and they're almost unanimous in saying that the markets are acting prematurely, that the damage from this is going to be worse than people expect because it's going to take a lot longer to get the oil flowing again and to get prices back down again, even if the war were to end today. And a number of people this morning at the Institute for International Finance were suggesting that they thought that oil prices were going to stay up longer because a ceasefire isn't going to bring them down. It's going to take an absolute end to the war plus traffic moving through the Strait of Hormuz before we really see some price relief. So this could be an issue for the economy, and they get to a point where people don't have money to spend on other things, demand gets destroyed, the economy slows down.
Hey, Mike, I promised that we'd get to the president once again mentioning that he would threaten to fire Jerome Powell. We did get some news from the Treasury Secretary that he does expect Kevin Warsh to be confirmed in the near future. There's a lot at play here. Can the president just fire Jay Powell if he doesn't step down, if Warsh doesn't move through the confirmation process in time?
Well, as far as we know, he cannot. This is still an unanswered question in terms of the Lisa Cook case, in terms of whether the president can fire somebody without cause. And then the question becomes, well, what would be the cause if the president tried to fire him? The idea that there's something wrong with the building construction, the Fed has provided extensive answers to that. Doesn't seem to have satisfied the administration. And even if there was something wrong, there have been no charges brought. These are just allegations at this point by the president in very general terms that, well, gosh, there must be something. So it would seem very hard for him to actually fire him. The question would come up if Kevin Warsh is not confirmed by May 15th when Powell's term as chair ends, then there might be a legal fight over who gets to be chair of the Board of Governors, whether the president gets to appoint somebody or whether Powell stays on as president pro tem. But Powell would stay on as head of the Open Market Committee. They've already chosen their chairman for the year. So if Warsh is not confirmed, nothing changes. And if this investigation doesn't go away, then the president is stuck with Jay Powell making interest rate policy.
Yeah, just, you know, how many times can we say we are living in interesting times? I guess we can't say it enough, and that includes with what's going on in the Fed. Mike, so is there, though, also a scenario that we are possibly headed towards where Warsh is confirmed as Fed chair, but Jay Powell is still on the board, and it just makes for some interesting dynamics? Or has that?
I like the word interesting.
It covers so much.
Well, there's only two ways that could happen. One is they drop the probe, but Powell decides to stay on anyway, maybe because he doesn't like the looks of what would happen at the Fed when he's not there. Or if Tom Tillis changes his mind and agrees to vote for Kevin Warsh and Warsh is confirmed, but the probe continues, then Powell says he's going to stay on. So it's still possible, but it's more likely that we're not going to see Kevin confirmed in time, or that he's confirmed, and Powell steps down as chair and probably steps down as a governor.